All right, welcome to Dish Daddy, where we transform everyday household chores into something extraordinary. These dishes were filmed on December 20th, 2020. Right now, I'm working on that Tupperware lid, which these Tupperware containers are absolutely amazing. Great investment, great way to save on lunch and leftovers, and I mean they pay for themselves when you really do the math on that. But looks like we got some big plates here. Notice the water is running just to kind of help, but then we shut that off. But overall, just soaping up, getting the back of that plate. That's going to be helpful when you do stack them because that bottom does touch the top of another one. So you want to make sure it's all pretty clean. Go into a little small plate here. Hopefully that doesn't take too much time considering the small surface area of that plate. Again, there's the medium sized plate. Gonna get a little bit of water on that just because looks like that food was a little sticky there. Now you notice I do have some recyclables in the background up top right. I got an old pasta jar sauce and the peanut butter jar that I got to clean out as well. So that's important for just general recycling these days. So you want to wash those and dry it, and then toss that in your recycling bin if you do have sorted stuff. So I'm just stacking those plates on the side of the thing. These trays are for baking. They prevent sticking. They're really handy. They're kind of a pain to clean a little bit, but I got the soap on there to get it started. This is a hook or a mixer hook for mixing cookies in the mixer, and not the easiest to clean, but worth the cookies on that one. That's a bread knife. Cleaning that. Well, although the bread, one thing I've been doing is just cutting the bread and then leaving it and not even washing the knife. So it's rare that I'm washing this knife and then putting it away right away, making sure it's not dangerous. Now here I'm just using my bare hands. I've actually ditched the sponge and I'm just feeling the plate for that dirt. Now, I don't know if this technique is good. Feel free to comment below. But that's one technique that I've really loved in the past. I've been made fun of for doing that by previous roommates, but it's a great way to really get in touch with your dishes and feel how clean they are. So the bread knife, I've just been cutting the bread and then put it back in the little slot on the knife holder, which has been pretty helpful, but sometimes I do clean it. So yeah, just doing the quick wash. Now I try to be modular in my approach to dishes. So here I soaped up a couple and now I'm washing all those. So that really helps me. If I need to get pulled away from these dishes at a moment's notice, I'm good to go. It's okay. I got something done. There's a bottle down there. That bottle is probably going to be washed at a later point, but I do keep it in the sink for now. So again, I'm just working back through all those ones I just soaped up. That way, progress has been made. So yeah, here I'm just going to wash this out real quick and then put it in a little bowl on the side, and I do a whole clean for the bottles later, and I boil them and all that. That's just enough of that. As a quick tangent, I've been thinking about this whole binging concept, and I just say that, and you may be a little worried, but I'm talking about binging on Netflix. Somehow it's socially acceptable to binge away on Netflix, but it's not okay to binge eat, and I just don't get that that's possible. We got a nasty mess in the bottom of that sink, but that will slowly drain, and then I will hopefully clean that out. But yeah, so somehow we can binge whatever shows we want on Netflix, and it's just unfortunate that's acceptable. That's kind of the point there. This is a peanut butter jar. We're just going to soap that up and cap it off for now, I think. Maybe a little shake. Yeah, okay. And put that away. Same thing for this guy. And we'll eventually clean that out with like hopefully an older sponge, or maybe just I'm using my hand a little bit. Get that peanut butter working on the sides. And here's some mason jars. Now, speaking of back to Netflix, I've been thinking about how lobbyists, they're kind of competing against these independent documentaries that can pop up on Netflix. If you want to create a movement or create some real change, instead of paying the lobbyists, it may be better create a Netflix documentary. I think the word might get spread out. It might be able to clearly communicated that way, and I think it's just a pretty incredible platform for that. So it's, the people have spoken. Done deal. No more lobbyists needed. Looks like it's getting real soapy here, which is great to see. Back to the task at hand. No pun intended there. So those baking sheets, these you lay over like your cooking sheet, and they're kind of like a synthetic mat. You don't want to cut on them, but they're kind of they protect the cookie sheet, so you don't have to spray your oil on the cooking sheet. You don't have to soak your cooking sheet afterwards because they stay clean. You just got to clean these guys, and these guys are easy to clean than your cooking sheet. Now that right there, I just put a knife, I think, in that mason jar. Now that mason jar is what I call a fork cocktail. And that fork cocktail is just soaking all the spoons, forks, knives, kid spoons in that soapy mess there. And here I'm cleaning out the bottom of the drain. We don't have a disposal. Disposal aren't the best for your drain. And that's just going in the compost below. So that's all being composted. And here it is empty again almost. But yeah, so that fork cocktail, I just let it sit there with the forks and knives. It kind of helps cleans up the sink a lot by organizing all those forks and spoons and dishes, and it's just pretty amazing. This is a bib, and these bibs are super easy to clean. They're super easy to put on. They're a little synthetic. I mean, or silicone, I should say. All these silicone products these days for the kitchen have just been amazing. I mean, the cupcake holders, we'll get to those one day. And then these sheets, I mean, all this silicone stuff, I just hope it doesn't cause cancer. But it's amazing to cook with and clean. I mean, it's just great. So here I'm getting really, I'm really getting that stuff off. It does need a little bit of work, but then I flip it, and and now I'm putting that soap that I just flipped onto the next one. So this is a technique that I do for these cutting boards that I have, and then for these things. So you're always washing, and then you throw that one to the bottom, and then you're cleaning that one by contact. See, so now that one's bottom's touching the soap, so it just kind of really helps mix things up. And spread that soap around, do a flip. Now we're actually vegetarian here, so there's a chicken on that, but there was no chicken on there. I can bet my bottom dollar, there's no meat in the house. Typically, I'll cross my fingers, but yeah. So these cooking sheets or these cutting sheets, they have a little chicken or meat or whatever, and we just always use vegetables or whatever sort of, vegan type of meal on there. But yeah, so looks like I want to be conscious of how much water is being used. If there was a clock or a timer that could show that kind of information on your sink, I mean, I think that would be pretty powerful. And then maybe showing like how many dishes were done in that amount of water or something. I think those kind of metrics. Again, if you don't measure it, you can't improve it. So it's all about measuring to improve, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to optimize these dishes because I do so many. So I just want to try to understand, some of the best techniques out there, and so I'm really trying to open source this information about, the best way. So here's that fork cocktail. It's coming out. We're gonna pour out the those, and sorry you can't see them in the sink, but you'll get the idea. And maybe another video you'll be able to see a better angle there. But so we're cleaning the mason jar that it was in, and some other kids' cups. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty. Just working through it there. So, but again, I just want to say that dishes they take up a lot of time. Here I'm probably working for 15 minutes or so, and there wasn't too many big ones either, but it just it definitely takes time, and they keep coming, they don't stop. So I mean, one tip I've tried to do is 1 cup a day, or maybe 1 cup a week, or somewhere in between. I'm just trying to use less cups, because cups actually, in terms of volume, they take up a lot of your sink space there. Plates stack pretty nicely. Bowls can stack pretty nicely, but typically cups, like the mason jars, those aren't stacking, so they're just taking a lot. So I usually actually keep those on the side. And then just a lot of times, maybe if I don't have time to do the dishes, what I'll do is I'll stack things in the sink in a new organized way, just trying to optimize the space in there, and that actually allows for more space as well. So I think that's been a pretty good tip. Now, eventually here, once we get through, now we're washing. So we did the soap, and then we're washing. And once we get all that soap off these cups, we're going to start moving to the fork cocktail stuff. Now notice that there is a blue straw there. That's also silicone. Another thing that's been taken over the kitchen is through this with these reusable straws. And there's a little bristle brush that I have for that. So here I'm doing the fork, spoons, and knives, and then I notice I do try to touch those handles just because I don't like a dirty handle, even if the end may be clean. It's all about that handle and how that feels. So that's that's one of the important things that I try to make sure I do before I go. But I just go through each one. I mean, I could hold a bunch in my hand and go at it, but again, since these are being eaten with, I do kind of take my time with each one. Notice the water's off, and this is pretty modular because I have dirty ones on the right, clean ones on the left, and I'm just gonna soap them through if I had to go in a moment's notice. This is a sharp knife, so you have to be a little bit more careful. This one needed a little bit more water on there, so we're in there. Now notice that 360 on that spoon, just kind of floating around, touching that handle, and getting the soap all over there. And then this is a straw. You got to clean the outside, but then also there are the, here we go. So here's the little bristle thing. So I'm going to plug that through, make sure there's nothing blogging. There's usually not. I mean, literally water probably went through this straw. So it's really not too bad, but I feel like meditation with these dishes is almost like therapeutic in a way. Just watching and understanding the process of the dishes is a great process. So here I am washing all these. Now notice I have the sprayer a little bit wider just to try to hit all the angles on those fork, spoons, and knives. But there really can be something relaxing about doing dishes, and I think it can inspire some great relaxation through the day, or some of your best ideas. So now we're going back to, no, I did a quick sweep there of the sink, and I'm trying to power through on the peanut butter, but it looks like I am diverting to the heavy artillery. Now notice I had this off to the side. I didn't want it taking up a bunch of space. When I do go through to a full sink, I try to look for the biggest bang for the buck. I'm trying to do the biggest pots and pans. So this one, instead of doing it, because I probably didn't have enough room, I just put it off to the side. But sometimes if I can just do a pot or two, like especially the strainer, those usually take up a lot of space and they're pretty quick to do. So again, I'm kind of using my hands there just to kind of feel that out. I just get good vibes from the dishes that way. Here I'm trying to get the top, bottoms, and that rim. The rim on this is usually the sticking point, literally, for any of that food. But doing dishes is very powerful. It allows you to, obviously, easier to cook at home and save that way. But it's just self-sufficient. It's reusing and a great way. So here I'm getting a towel. I'm just trying to dry off. I for some reason, the water really builds up. And I'm just trying to dry that off a little bit. Probably touching my jeans there and getting me a little wet. So these are the cooking sheets that came off earlier with those other silicone things. So these are a lot less dirty than they normally would be since that silicone sheet was over it. So that's really helpful. In fact, if you want to support the channel, you can actually purchase those silicone sheets in the links below at the description. I'll be putting that there for you. But again, just kind of get this nice and soapy and then a nice clean rinse on it. Now this water temperature is probably hot to hot warm. Usually it runs a little hot and then I get too hot and I hurt my fingers, but the water temperature is relatively hot. And I only have a single bin on this sink, so I'm not transferring from a hot water to a cold rinse or anything like that. I'm literally just using the spigot, which isn't the best. I mean, the water flows not super fast, but per dish, it does add up, and so I'm open to suggestions on improving that. I'm trying to conserve and be eco-conscious. I just read today that 3% of the Earth's water is fresh and able to use for showers and dishes and drinking. So while we do have some water for that stuff, it's not 75% like the earth is covered with, if that makes any sense. So here I'm going around doing the spray, trying to get everything down into that bottom thing, and then I will toss that bottom thing into the compost just like that. Tap it a couple times, clean it out, no dishwash, and that's all. Thanks for joining us. Hope to have you back next time.